Minasan konnichiwa and welcome to Shogo's podcast. So today is going to be another very short story, I believe, but it is something that is related to Japanese culture, and it's something that a lot of people have asked me questions about, and it's something that I always think about whenever I teach this to my kids. I wanted to talk about this in this podcast. So to make a long story short, what it's going to be about is the Itadakimasu and Gochisosama, these phrases that we say before and after our meals. So you might have heard before in Japan, before we eat anything, we put our hands together and say Itadakimasu, which means I will have this in a very polite way. And also after you have the meal, you put your hands together again and you say Gochisosama deshita, meaning this was an amazing meal in a very, very polite way. So we say this to the meal itself. We mean it to all of the lives that we are going to be taking and all of the people who have worked to deliver the food to us, cook the food to us. And so it's not just to the food, but also to the people and such. However, in Japan too, even though this Itadakimasu Gochisosama culture is still considered something important, at the same time though, a lot of people point out that this was also used because back in the time, in the past in Japan, food was very scarce, right? And food was very scarce, it was rare, and there was a lot of people who couldn't eat enough and such, and there were a lot of people who were suffering, and that's the reason why food was especially really, really, should I say, something to be cherished and something to be grateful for. So that's the reason why we often say Itadakimasu and Gochisosama. But of course, as I always explain, there are many people in Japan who are living in poverty. So there are some people that are suffering. But most people can get something to eat. Well, compared to like I don't know, a few hundred years ago when a pandemic or something would happen, like we couldn't make enough crops this year or so on and so forth, it's definitely much better today, right? Considering that I personally feel it's really sad that there's more and more parents who don't teach their children how to properly say Itadakimasu or Gochisosama anymore because they don't feel they don't have to say it because we just simply have an abundant amount of food and we don't feel that grateful to our food, right? And whenever I teach my kids, I obviously teach Itadakimasu and Gochisosama to my kids. And I really feel that this is the kind of mindset, mentality that I really think that Japanese people should never forget. But for kids too, it's fairly confusing. From my generation, it was already confusing. Why do we have to say Itadakimasu and Gochisosama every time when, to be honest, food isn't something that we have so much trouble getting to, Trying to be thankful for something that's, we take for granted is very difficult, right? But right now, I by the way, whenever I teach something to my kids, I never want to just tell them that this is the right way to do it, you should just obey me. I don't like that way of teaching my kids something. So I always try to give them a reason, even if they don't. Even if they can't understand, even if they don't understand what I'm trying to say, I think it's really important that they feel the respect from their parents, that they're trying to seriously talk to you, I read it in a book before, maybe it was a video or something that explained about it, and that was probably the respect that I wanted to when I was a child. So regardless of if they understand me or not, I always explain to them and give them a reason why we need to do it. And although, as I've been saying, many people are starting to forget this important culture of Itadakimasu and Gochisosama, what I tell my kids is that it's practicing. Basically, just like all the other traditions in Japan, we have like putting our shoes neatly together after taking them off at the front of the house, or these kind of traditions. Basically, it's about gaining the habit of trying to be thankful for everything, because every day you will eat something, right? And every day you'll have the opportunity to be grateful for something. And people who can't be grateful for things that they take for granted will never be able to be happy. And if you're never happy, you won't be able to make people around you happy. Sometimes if you're actually less happy, or if you're not sad, but if you're suffering from something, sometimes you would hurt other people rather than make them happy, right? So what I tell my kids is that saying Itadakimasu and Gochisosama, I know it's troublesome, I know it's something tiring, and you don't want to do it. My kids are always like, why can't I just start eating immediately? And I always force them to take away their plates and first say Itadakimasu. Or before they move out of their chairs and go somewhere to play, I always tell them you have to sit back down and say Gochisosama. And this is training to be grateful for something that they think they can get for free, which is not true. we are taking away lives from the vegetables, from the animals, and we are taking the time from the people, who are preparing the meals for us. It could be harumi, it could be the people who work at these places. And not being able to be thankful for these small things in life that you usually wouldn't notice, you will not be able to make yourself and others happy. So this is what I tell them, my kids. And this is the reason that really, I was able to be convinced, myself too. And I personally feel that this Itadakimasu Gochisosama culture, I know for people who are not on Japanese speakers, originally Japanese speakers, is a really long phrase to say. Itadakimasu Gochisosama is really, really long to say. However, I really feel that if you have the chance, you don't have to, by the way. You don't have to, but if you have the chance, it'd be great if you can try it out for us. A lot of people will think that you have learned our culture and you're really respectful, and it absolutely will be a great chance for you to start, a communication, a conversation with someone in Japan. So I really think it's important. And these kind of small things, I really feel that's just like how if you train in martial arts, you bow to the dojo when you enter, you bow to the dojo when you're going to be leaving. These small habits, I should say, these small habits, when you're doing it, when you don't fully understand what you're doing, it might, feel really, just again, tiresome or stuff like that. But in the end, it's these kind of habits, if you do it, if you have it inside your heart and you automatically do it, it starts to show in your atmosphere, if you get what I mean. These kind of habits will absolutely be reflected in your small attitudes or actions, I would say. So I really think that it's important that we try to protect these small habits, even though it seems it's not matching modern day today because we just have enough of everything. Our hearts will always be the same, right? Yeah. If you want to be grateful, if you want to be happy, you need to be grateful. And this law of the universe will probably never change. If you're never thankful, no matter how much money or how much stuff you have, you'll never be happy. Yeah. So I really feel that these small traditions should be carried on. And whenever my kids or myself have struggled to try to teach these things, the reason why we have to do it, why it's so important, I like to teach them what I just explained today. So then everyone, as I always say, the ultimate goal of my life is to make all Japan lovers' dreams come true. So I know there's a lot of people studying Japanese, willing to come to Japan to study, travel, or work, or even traditional culture and such. However, I am very afraid that Japan will not be able to make everyone's dreams come true in the future, because we're facing a lot of social problems, we are losing our traditional culture, and the younger generations who are supposed to be carrying on the good things about Japan are dying because of all the social issues being shoved against them. So I really want to dedicate my life trying to make Japan a better place. I want to try to solve social problems, preserve and evolve traditional culture, and also help out the younger generations so they can have a brighter future. And to do this, the nearest goal I have right now is to raise money to buy my very first bamboo shakuhachi, to do more collaboration videos with Katana Daisuke-san from Wagaki Band to spread the wonderful world of Japanese traditional music, and also I have my Suzuri merchandise page where I'm selling my limited edition items until the end of 2022, so I really hope you can check these two websites out for me through the description box. Okay guys, thank you so much. And again, as always, I'll be waiting for your comments. I always read every single comment on my podcast channel, so I hope you're gonna check it out for me. Thank you so much guys, bye bye.